Gary journeyed from Groveland to his sister Nancy's residence in Columbia, discovering an aura of tranquility, just him and a magnificent border collie named Kizzy. The serenity a change from the assembled congregation of grandkids visiting his sister Catherine. The return to Columbia enabled a return to the internet and a resumption of his Nasdaq day trading, plus an opportunity to visit with his ICQ acquaintances. Gary's dog-sitting duties coming to an end with his sister and mom's return, and with Catherine's grandkids still camped at the cottage, he decided to remain in Columbia for the time being. Having established over 48 ICQ acquaintances, there was an inaugural lady that he had an ongoing rapport with since initiating ICQ that really intrigued him. Her name was Fran, and she lived in Winter Park, Florida, a suburb of Orlando. The two having maintained a steady correspondence on ICQ. Gary totally enjoying their conversations, finding the lady captivating with her knowledge about any subject, her total recall for dates, places, and events, and an inherent proclivity for music. Gary not really giving thought of meeting Fran, with the distance to Florida somehow seeming like halfway around the world, but taking notice. Their online relationship was beginning to develop into something more than conversation. An inner feeling began raising to the surface. Still somewhat hesitant about traveling from California to Florida, it wasn't like he could jump in the car and visit. It would entail planning by both, as Fran would have to arrange for time off from work, and to keep down the cost, he would have to schedule airline reservations at least 2 weeks in advance. It was when he received an email picture of her and the grandkids, all uncertainty evaporated, the decision to fly to Florida was made. The circumstances were rather unusual, Gary having made reservations with United Airlines to fly out of SFO at 10 a.m. on Monday, July 16th. What was unusual was, July 15th was Fran's birthday as well as his sister Catherine's. Gary addressing the occasion, wiring Fran flowers. Don having offered to drop Gary off at the San Francisco airport on his way to work. Gary driving late Sunday afternoon to San Mateo to spend the night at Don's mother residence, not wanting to leave the Buick at the airport's long-term parking. The United flight to East Coast with a plane change in Houston, arriving after dark in Orlando. Gary disembarking walking down the United Airlines Mobile Bridgeway into the terminal, not knowing what to expect having never met Frances Marion Wilcoxon. Standing by a post was the picturesque lady, looking absolutely like her photograph. The long-acquainted two finally getting to meet. On their way to the car rental, Fran mentioning how her daughter Jeanette gave her a lecture about meeting someone whom she met on the internet, and was reluctant to leave her mother alone at the airport. Gary assuring her he understood her daughter's apprehension. The two newly acquainted proceeding to Fran's residence on Granada Drive in Winter Park. Arriving, Gary introduced and accepted by Sammy, Fran's dear Chihuahua, discovering the lady was an inherent canine person, which was a plus. He soon realized she was everything and maybe more than he had expected. Fran was just as impressive in person as online, finding comfort in her demeanor and address to life. Her employment responsibility at Dollar Tree was put on hold to accompany his stay. Gary being introduced to the store manager, Liz Loretti, whom had nothing but accolades for Fran. Gary very much aware of the round-trip ticket date, an urgency building within to convey to Fran, who and what he was as a person. It was difficult, but searching within he found a solution. Driving through the business district of Orlando, he took notice of a sign, Orlando Piano, parking, the couple entering. Gary asking the proprietor if it was alright to try out some of the models. The salesperson nodding his approval to play any of the store's inventory, Gary seated before the keyboard of a baby grand, the music of Andy Williams' hit, More, coming forth, followed by The Impossible Dream. The pianist at ease, with Fran standing beside him, performing his proclivity on the keyboard, giving her a presentation of the inner feeling that only music can express, songs of remembrance from their youth, the storied epics of love, a grand finale with the Chariots of Fire. To his surprise, the staff and customers at the store applauding. Gary suspecting that they knew what he was up to, acknowledging the couple on their departure. Gary was surprised when discovering Sunday church was an integral part of Fran's life, the two attending the local Baptist church, Gary finding solace again, having neglected this most important celebrate of life because of his inherent life in Groveland and Columbia. Both his sisters, Catherine and Nancy, proclaiming to be agnostic, using this for his failure to attend church during his stay at both premises, recognizing he had become abortive of his faith. But with the turn of events, the Heavenly Father may have provided a messenger,